Let's have a look. See whether this link works. And FYI, we are definitely changing that thumbnail at some point
Yeah,
in the
fair.
future.
Yeah,
Because I don't know whether you know, but I can actually grow hair on my head.
yeah, fair. I just totally fair. I didn't even think about it. It's just been sitting there. It was supposed to only be the first day one anyway. I just never got back to making
Yeah.
a better one.
I
So
look like a fat baldy and you look like a crackhead, I'm just saying.
yeah, I look off. Did you see that? Yeah, you definitely saw the one. There's one that was the most unflattering image of myself I've ever seen created. It was so awful. I looked like I was.
So you went, oh, let's just go with the unflattering one of lemon.
Yeah, 100%.
All righto, I see.
All right,
From what
and
I can see, that is working. And we have
this time I'm watching for I got you, Moonflower.
Moonflower.
Yeah,
Moonflower. Thanks
but
for the live, guys. Looking forward to another great session. Cheers, buddy.
welcome. And this time I'm actually watching the general, so I will see your questions this time. Sorry, I missed them last time. I caught that at the end of the
Oh,
stream.
I don't think there were. Any questions.
Oh, okay.
I
I
think
saw at
they were just commenting.
yeah.
They were commenting on our lives.
Good to have you guys.
But he did want you to talk about leverage.
Yes, that is okay.
Leverage.
That is the thing I'll start with first and foremost. Let's go ahead and
Beautiful.
let me go ahead and show our beautiful faces
Open us
and
up.
we'll go ahead and do the disclaimers. First of all, guys, education, entertainment purposes only here. This isn't financial advice. Always do your own due diligence. Trading is a high risk activity. You can and will incur losses. So use proper risk management and only risk capital on systems you've tested yourself. That being said, thank you guys for coming. Welcome. And I do hope you guys pick up something from these.
Is my camera good enough that you can see the hair just here? I know I've just shaved this morning, but there's definitely some
Yeah,
hair
there's
growing there.
definitely some hair. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the thumbnail will change,
Yeah.
I promise. That the AI generated limits is not the real deal.
Yeah. I like the one I sent you with me holding the lemon. And the lemon had a face.
Yeah, well, now that they've seen us enough, maybe it would be cool to use that one. At first, they said it's got to be something with our face on it, because I was trying to do the one with your lemon head, the suit, the lemon head suit, and
Oh yeah.
I was like, that would have been epic. Anyway, oh yeah, the big first topic is leverage, and I'm trying to. So there's like a million videos and stuff out there that explain leverage, so I kind of want to explain it in kind of an intuitive way. Um, as far as I've ever used, the CFD brokers and stuff like that, all use it pretty much the same way. And how it works is your margin is automatically used. So when Moonflower was asking me about it, they seemed confused about like how much.
Maxie.
What's that?
Sorry. I was just saying hello to Maxie.
Oh, hey, hello,
You
Maxie.
keep going.
They were asking about kind of like what is the risk amount based on the leverage, and we're confused in that having more leverage means more risk. It doesn't Having more leverage does not change the amount of risk you have. It gives you more access to risk. That's all. So if you're using an account and you have 5x leverage, you have access to risk 5 times the amount of capital at once. Now, most brokers out there, if not all, will have what's called like a margin call and stop out. And what that means is you'll get to the point where it would liquidate your account and they would potentially risk money on the trade because you're risking all of it on the moves. And they will forcibly close your account. First, they'll give you a margin call and warn you that your account's going to be margined, depending on how fast the market's moving and how big your risk is. And then finally, they'll just close out the trade at a loss. Usually, it's like 90%, 80%, something like that. It'll basically almost liquidate your account. You'll have a tiny bit of cash to cover so that they don't hit zero. They don't have any risk. They don't want to lose any money on your trading decisions. So you by saying that you're never risking more money. For one big misconception, you're not risking more money in a normal brokerage account than you put into the account. You're not going to owe them money. Most brokers don't allow that. I'm sure there are unregulated brokers out there that you can find that might allow you to leverage to the point of borrowed money, but I would not dabble in a broker that does that because that means that other traders are doing it,
Yeah,
and where is the risk go there? That's not a good
yeah.
habit.
You're just
Um,
you end up losing money, and then one day someone's gonna come around and kneecap you. So
yeah, yeah.
probably don't go down that road.
Don't go down that road. Yeah.
Where's my
Um,
money? Where's
yeah.
my money, Jezza?
You
Oh,
will
g'day, bear.
never owe money to a brokerage for one. So that's one common misconception with leverage that I get with new people or people that don't understand leverage that much. Um, they will prevent that from happening. The other thing is the leverage is kind of automatically used. And what I mean by that, let me give you an example. I hope I can explain this intuitively. I'm going to use powers of 10 for easy math. Let's say you have $1,000 that you put into account and you have 100 to 1 leverage, okay? Or let's use 30 to 1, very common regulated, okay? So you have access to $30,000 in position size. What that means is when you get on a position size, it's actually a reverse ratio. You're using 1/30th of the capital every time you open a position, right? Because you're automatically using that leverage. So what that means is if I open a position, let's say I'm selling 100 units of USD. Okay, that means I need 100 USD to service that position size. Well, I'm only using 1/30th of that, right? So I'm only using the equivalent of my account of my margin of 3 of that USD that gets held up basically based on the fluctuation of that. It's 1/30th of whatever the position size would be on the account. That's kind of how that works. So some examples. Um, let's say, let me throw up a position size tool on TradingView actually and talk about it with an actual position, okay? Let's say you want to enter a trade and you're risking, let's see, what do we got here? Let me just throw up a random position size and we'll do a whole number. Let's do stop level and entry price 520 to make it a whole number. I just want to do easy math when I'm talking about this so you guys can visualize it. I know math isn't the easiest thing to visualize for everyone, so I'm trying not to be too mathematic about it, but I just want to make it easy, and then we'll do 510. So 10 point stop loss, okay? And then the reward doesn't matter in this scenario because I'm just talking about like your risk amount. But all right, so I want to enter a position and I'm risking 10 points basically, right? With whatever the entry and the risk is. Now, you have $1,000 account and let's say you want to risk, I don't know, a percentage of that account. All right, a percentage of that account, 1% in this case, so $10. Now, okay, that's kind of a bad example because we have a $10 fluctuation. So let's say you have a $100,000 account. Sorry, that's one because I want to explain the leverage with a smaller than 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, so you have $100,000 and you want to risk 1,000 of those dollars. You only have 10-point movement. If you were to use 10,000 of your dollars to open a position, every dollar that the market would move would fluctuate $1 in your profit and loss. So if you lost this position at $10 change, you would only lose $10 in capital, but you want to risk $1,000. So you have to make it so that 100 units are bought in this case, right? 100 units. Now, the current price of the NASDAQ is 25,520. Well, how much would that be, 100 times, 100 units, right? That would be uh, to over $2 million, basically, you'd have to have. So you wouldn't be able to do that with a regular $100,000 account. You'd have to have at least, 20 leverage, right? You'd have to have at least 20 to 1 leverage. And that's how leverage accesses it. You notice how it didn't change your risk? You decided your risk based on your position size. The leverage just gives you access to that risk, basically. Does that make sense? Please, Moonflower, ask specifically the questions if you need to in general. As I try to go through this, I'm gonna try to give.
Yeah, he's not asked anything yet. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Hey Pat, how's it going? Um, but obviously I've been,
Leverage is
I know
automatically used
you and
for
how you
most.
talk and whatnot.
Yeah, I
So
know, I know I can be a little fast, and I'm also throwing numbers out, but
I
I'm
think
trying to
I think
use.
that was a very unjezzer explanation. In fact, you were very like precise and to the point. It was great. I loved it.
Nice. Okay, cool. Good. If you don't
Makes sense,
understand that,
says
please,
Maxi,
yeah, please ask more questions.
and Moonflower
The
says it makes sense to him.
Okay, perfect. The other thing is he was confused about using it, I think, and I just wanted to explain that for most brokerages, it's automatically used in that you only use up that much margin, margin being the amount of trades you're allowed to open, the amount of margin that you have to use. Um, so, for
Yep.
example, if you have 30x leverage, you're only using 1/30th of your position size in margin amount. And then if you have 100x leverage, you're using 1/100th of your position size in margin, and it just allows you to open more trades or risk more. You you're automatically using it. You don't have to worry about thinking that it's going to make you lose or risk more money. Okay, it
Yeah.
it allows you bigger risk and reward. That's really all it is. If used properly, you can use it improperly, but if you're sitting here using a stop loss and things like that, you're not using it improperly, and you don't have to worry about it. It's new people that go, oh, I have 100x leverage. I'm gonna put $1,000 in this account and let me buy one whole Bitcoin with my $1,000 and watch it go up, to the moon.
Yeah.
If it doubles in price, I
Yeah.
multiply my money by 100 or whatever, and like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
And
that's
then they get
where,
margin calls.
yeah, they get their margin call and they cry about it because that was, mom's birthday money or something, and it's sad. So don't be in that position. But
Yeah.
I want to talk about before we have a lot of mindset stuff to talk about. I want to talk about a trade that happened on Friday, and this is just the reality of trading, guys. This happened to me. It was real. It really sucked, but I lived through it. I was actually genuinely upset about it. I really wanted to show you guys this nice monstrous trade. It was what we were talking about at the end of the year. We had a breakout of the Asian daily range, right? We had a range breakout, closure right there, and I dotted up this liquidity ahead of time for you guys to show you guys how the market moved. Market liquidated that, and now whether you decide this is the flip of liquidity or this is, it doesn't matter. It closed above both points, and we have liquidity resting right here and this zone. So I went ahead and took the greedy stance and took the little order block right here because it was below the liquidity, and then I added just a pip of spread to it, right? And that was where my entry was. My take profit, I was using this liquidity target right here as a take profit, giving me a nice chunky 8R trade, right? Feels nice and good. My alerts went off. I was all happy. I was so excited to show you guys how good of a trade you can get using these concepts. But whenever I went to check the charts, look what happened. I did not actually get entered into my trade, and therefore the market did exactly what I was expecting it to do, and I was greedy by a pip.
How did that make you feel?
Um,
I can only imagine. I'm
I
sure there was
was
a couple of different
Yeah, I
main
was
emotions
upset.
there.
Yeah. I was actually genuinely upset. It was the first trade of the year. I wanted to show you guys, like I was the big number one thing on my mind was less about the money for that trade, which it should have been. This is my job. This is my career path. So I'm not the money in that you need to be greedy and focus on the money and the results, but this is my business. But I wasn't. I was focused on, oh, I can't wait to show everyone at the trade floor this trade and how these concepts can play out. And I was just really thinking about this. So it was like a kick in the teeth to myself because I was already telling the story in my head as it was playing out when I got the alerts and everything. And so the disappointment that the thing I was getting ready to talk about wasn't happening. So it was kind of embarrassment to myself that that was where my focus was, and frustration big time that the market, and of course, even it's been years, and I know way better than this, but even for a quick second, I felt personally attacked. Like, man, my brokerage knew where my entry was and just didn't fill me in, didn't want me to get that winner in there, and told myself some I mean,
It
I don't believe
happens to
any of
the
that
best
stuff,
of us,
but
man.
yeah,
It happens. This is why I have that meditation shit before I do my trading, so that I know that these are the feelings that I'm going to be feeling, and to kind of plan a different route for when I do eventually, when I'm not in that kind of flight or fight situation right there. So you woke up and you were like, ah, and you immediately went like fight, like fucking broker. They're always out to get me.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, at least it was while you're sleeping. Like, have you been in a situation where a trade's been you put in a limit order and it's gotten that close and then started pulling away?
Like, Like,
Like say for instance you're watching the chart at that moment, but
oh,
it
and I'm
was
watching
so
it
close to
happen.
hitting your yeah.
Um, okay, so in real life, I've gone through a couple scenarios where I've done the bad thing. I've had all of the outcomes basically from this. I have watched it and been like, well, I was right. So now I'm going to get in. And because I would then lose the trade, and I wouldn't risk more money because then I would just get out at the same price, like at the same dollar amount, but I would have risked money I didn't need to risk anymore, right? So I'll have lost a trade that
Mm,
I got in late on, or it will have played out correctly, but because of my original risk to reward, I lose a lot of that money. It wasn't really worth the trade or the risk. Or um, I will watch it go and just curse myself, or I will enter and get stopped out. Like I've had all of them happen, and it's the feeling, right? It's, oh man, I was right. I was right, but I was wrong about this, and that was it. So therefore, it's my right to be part of this trade, right? I deserve to be part of this
mm,
trade because I called it, and that's the wrong mindset to have. It's, this was my
yeah,
analysis. This is what I did. Sometimes that works. I
yeah,
tested this, and sometimes it doesn't, and you have to live with when it doesn't. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
It's there can be many a case when you're right about even a trade, when you're right about the direction, and you won't make money, or
yeah.
you won't be able to get to a trade.
That's, I'd
You
argue
will
that's,
not know that the price is going to go that way because you can't know anything for sure in trading. But
I would
like
argue that's
you've
90%
done,
of
you
successful trading. Is you're really, we can call
mm,
the market really easy at this point. I feel like all of us, Bear, Jay, Christy, you, any of us could probably sit there and grab like a chart and go, okay, I think the market's gonna around this area reverse and go the other way and be accurate most of the time. But getting a trade out of that is a whole different ball game, and that's where it comes in. And you're not gonna get them all, even being right on the a call of the market, you're not gonna get that trade all the time.
hey Bear, can you pass me on that number? I've lost my connection to Papa Pal. He's ghosting
Are
me.
there
So
other
if you could just
aspects?
hook me up with a number, that'd be awesome.
Right.
Um,
Are there any aspects of market
the
volatility?
so Moonflower has put how to use high leverage safely, how to look at the volatility of say a crypto coin on a certain time frame and decide which leverage is safe. Do you use ATR or something else? Um,
Well, okay.
I mean, for me personally, I always expect like when it comes to day trading, it might be different for like investment trading, and I can't really speak from experience when it comes to crypto, but I will just use a risk calculator. I mean, it's just as simple as that, you know, for me. Like
Di-
the TTF risk calculator, very easy to use. I just use that.
so
And I
Bear,
use either
so go ahead.
what has Bear
Go ahead.
said?
No, no, I was just say
No, no, you go for it.
Bear said that I was talking about leverage when it was forex markets, not crypto. Leverage in crypto is different to leverage in future and forex. So my only experience trading leverage crypto is with like CFD markets, like at Darwin X and things like that. So I don't know the ins and outs of crypto leverage, so I can't speak on that, Moonflower. I apologize. But the way it works in
Yeah.
my broker is the same as the other assets.
Right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Um,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted
no,
to
no,
make
no,
sure that I
there's
made
no
that clear
worries.
because it sounds like Moonflower is very focused on crypto leverage specifically, and if I can't, I unfortunately
Yeah.
don't have a lot of experience
Yeah,
about
I
that.
mean, like I said, I only am invested in crypto in the sense of I hold crypto like
Same for the most
through
part.
like
Also,
yeah.
yeah. I don't really do
Um,
a lot of leverage trading of crypto that much.
shall we have a little goosey loo at the current markets? Currently,
Yeah.
not not too much. Like GU, from what I can see, is in a really nice spot, but not quite. You know, it's almost there, but it's not quite there. The only other thing I can see, UJ's in an interesting spot on sort of the higher time frames as well. So maybe we can have a look at GU and UJ. If there's anything that you guys want to look at as well, please feel free to just type it up in here. Um, whilst we're
Okay. This
oh look at you, you're so quick.
this is not a call out, guys. So please don't take it that way. It's just this is a concept that I teach. But if you take a look at the market right here, we have a pullback, and we talked about this last week that this was a sign of weakness and potential pulling back down to the internal low. That happened, right? We didn't know that was going to happen. It's just a sign of that, right? That's we had no idea it was for sure going to happen. It's just a sign, and it did do that and came down into the swing low area and liquidated this. Well, what happens? What am I always looking for when we have a liquidation? I want to see the area that caused that liquidation flip, right? So
Hmm.
there's
Yeah,
a
that was a
liquidation.
beautiful call out last week, I have to say, as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. And a point exactly is it's not. I feel like it's not as hard, at least. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's not as hard to call out the total direction of the market as it is to.
Hmm.
Um, so here we have a flip, and then my stance is always the zone or the extreme that caused that flip are more likely to hold than the high. Again, this is not a call out. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but so far that zone is currently holding, right? I'm not saying that it will, so don't. It's not a trade idea per se, but um, I personally think that this area, although there is a lot of resting liquidity right in here and still some more down there, so like this is all valid still, but I just think that this whole low area, I would say, if I was, I would say this whole area is more likely to hold,
I would say that's to hold, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
than
You
this
got
area.
some, you got a couple of very nice pieces of liquidity that price can come back to inside that internal structure. I think
Yeah,
that's kind of
yeah. I think
going to be the
this
job there.
alone is a great amount of liquidity to continue the trend, personally. Just because it already liquidated this first little trick right here. Well, I mean, I guess you can't really even call that a trick. That was a nice continuation. It wasn't the real continuation. It was the liquidation to a
Hmm.
pullback. But um,
Hmm.
yeah, I would
Pat,
bet
before we continue, Pat, is EG euro pound? Yeah, that's what you're wanting to look at as well.
euro pound. What was the
Euro
one you
pound,
called out
I
a second
think.
ago? Well,
EG,
we could do that first. Euro pound,
UJ.
UJ.
UJ, but on the higher time frames, I think is looking fairly interesting.
Let's take a look at that one real quick, just because it's a USD pair, which is probably easier for me naturally. And then we'll go to EJ was the next one.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, um, well, the thing about Japan to me is I think about it not just with its price action, but its position in the world. So the purpose of yen, for those that are new to the trading world, and this is super important for all of you guys to understand if you're going to trade forex, the purpose of the yen in the current structure of the world, I don't know if it's like structured actual official reason, but the way it's used in the finance world is it's very cheap, right? It's very cheap to borrow and
It's the
sell.
punching bag.
Yeah, so they use it to convert into other currencies and uh, use those currencies to buy other assets. So that pushes the JPY down, which would inflate USD compared to it, and so on and so forth. Whereas the other USDs that I mean, the other currencies they're buying against go up on average. Now, it's cyclical and things like that, but I'm saying like that's the purpose of it. So when I'm thinking about it like that, I'm like, what is going on in the world? And are they borrowing yen to buy assets right now? Or is there a reason to buy assets? Is there a reason to demand yen? And I think about that as I'm going into the price action. So I just want that to be clear as I come into this. So as of right now, um, we have kind of a tech, some people call it a tech bubble, tech boom. I don't care. Whatever you want to call it. We have a tearing bull market and very concentrated into the tech industry, and a lot of big money is in that. So, in this case, this kind of bullish action makes sense, right? Because people are borrowing a lot of yen, converting it to USDs and other assets, and then buying, U.S. treasuries and tech company um, stock and things like that with it. So I think about it like that. So we're up trending right now. We didn't really make a new low. We had this kind of triple bounce right here at this liquidity level, which one day, someday, that is going to be liquidated for some extreme liquidity. Um, but there's also lots of liquidity resting up here, right? So it did this triple bounce, came down, filled this demand right here, and flipped the market. Then kind of it was a struggle up, but it was pretty like the arc of that is pretty extreme, right? That was like a takeoff basically, and it looks like it's coming to liquidate this area and test this high, which it did that job. It did that job, but it doesn't look like it's quite stopping yet. So this is all bullish price action. So as of right now, just on the higher time frame, given that there is still plenty of fuel in the market to put money into assets right now during this tech boom and these bull markets, um, and the fact that we have supply that we can test and there's no sign for it to slow down, it looks bullish in the overall market. And then I just look at things on, you know, it came and violated that liquidity. What is it doing with that liquidity? Continuing the trend. It's eventually going to pull back, probably test these lows somewhere here, maybe even liquidate some of this stuff and continue. But all in all, this is extremely bullish price action all the way. Um, I would say your best bet to continue the bullish trend low is to wait for a strong liquidation on the 15 minutes. So somewhere down in here, maybe even testing this, filling this wick by liquidating all this stuff right here, something like that, and then
Yeah,
flip. And then you get that. I mean, this is a strong trend. I would not be afraid to look for a bullish move still, even though we're very high in the trend. It's just so strong that if you're right and the trend will
yeah.
continue, it will probably give another, big push where you can get some nice profits. And if you're wrong, that's great. Then you can look for like the pullback to liquidating this kind of stuff, which still gives you range. So I think UJ is in a pretty good place for trading right now. You got a nice bullish trend that you can really jump on if you can get a
Yeah.
liquidation. And if you're wrong and there's a pullback coming, you have a lot of liquidity to visit for that pullback um,
hmm
to be
Yeah.
chunky. So
I think it's also interesting to like even if you go sort of higher time frame than the daily, like back in I think it was 2024 is when we got that real sort of like push the high where it kind of
mm,
took liquidity from way back. It took liquidity from the 1990s. Okay. So it's not revisited that area since the 1990s.
oh
And
shit.
yes, it did respond violently, but it hasn't really, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Like if
overall,
you
not
look at it
really. Like
look at it on the monthly and
yeah,
go
you
all the way
just
back to the 1990s.
just looking at like the total. Okay, the monthly, but yeah, just looking at this total like leg right here, even counting this could be a new leg, but I'm just saying like the range of this, it didn't really have a deep retracement ever from there, from that extreme low down there. But
hmm
yeah, let's take a look at the monthly. But I agree with you. It was violent, but
The only reason I'm saying look on a monthly is because then you'll be able to see the price action from the 90s kind of in kind of one screen.
I don't think I get that low.
Oh, check. Are
Oh,
you?
it's
I'm
it's
with
it's the
FXDM.
yeah, that's what it is. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah, I see. Oh, we're just now. Let me mark this. Let's take a look at this.
So it has been taken,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. That's the thing I was talking about. Although it was a it was a violent move to the downside, but really, what you
Yeah,
know
but if that was a
did it
real,
did it do its job of taking any liquidity? Like did it break any lows? Maybe a
it
little bit if
didn't.
you want to consider January 2024 a low, but I wouldn't. I would consider that low down at January 2023 as the low that created a new high.
Yeah, well, I would argue that this is a monthly
And
candle or a monthly high. And if you look, when it did liquidate it, it did not even liquidate the internal low.
hmm
Like
yeah,
not even the internal low. That is like relative on this time frame. That's no reaction at all almost. I mean, that is not being
yeah,
stopped. So
exactly.
that is
Nothing.
pretty alarming. Yeah. That's an alarming move for anyone who's betting bearish on that. Let me see. Oh yeah,
Were
let
you
me check.
around in the 90s, Pat? I know I was. I was a whole between the ages of 5 and 15.
Yep, I was a little bit younger than that, but I was between the ages of 1 and 10. I was
Yeah,
I was a quintessential 90s kid, 91 for me. Um
91.
yeah, liquidated, it came down and all it did was liquidate a daily low. It didn't even switch the trend. It just liquidated a low into like what was probably the
Yep.
real low and then gave us
hmm
one of those false moves where we're like, "Oh, nope, fake high. Oh, here comes the liquidation in the real high." Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, this is very bullish.
Yeah.
Like I said, it could
The
come for a
one
pullback
in
anytime, but
1980.
it's oh nice. I feel like the young one here. All right,
Yeah.
and then EJ was the other one we'll look at. So yeah, that's just without a doubt pretty much bullish. And then
Maxi, shut up, Maxi. You're an old soul. You were definitely reincarnated. There's no way you were a new baby.
we literally have basically the same kind of formulation. We're approaching highs where again the JPY is being borrowed to be
Uh,
part of this.
sorry, he's looking at euro pound, not euro JPY.
Oh, euro pound. Okay, oops.
Yeah, yeah.
That's yeah, that's a different. Okay. All right. Euro pound. All right. So here we have an uptrend, right? It's uptrending. It's kind of compressing in this area on the higher time frame. It looks like it's a little bit of a stall and then continuation, bullish. It created this double top type area, or triple top, really, actually. Finally liquidated that. Let's take a look at it on the higher time frame, actually, because what did it do after it liquidated the triple top right here? Did it flip with it? Boom. It did kind of immediately flip. Okay, so when I see the signs of liquidity being taken, I go, what does it do with that liquidity? That tells me kind of where the trend could be going. It took that liquidity and went bearish with it pretty quickly relative to the like where it was formed on, especially counting this. But that doesn't mean that we're going bearish. So I go, where is it going, right? So on the daily time frame, we're bullish, and do you see how we have these legs right here? Boom, boom, boom. But then there's nothing, there's no revisit of here. So this is probably coming down to liquidate this. That's most likely. So to me, this is almost like a targeting area, and then a place to join a longer bullish trend. So I would say that this is a potential target area, and um, if it liquidates any of this stuff, especially this, and flips, then it's likely that this will hold, or this will hold to take that out. So let's take a look at it on the 4 hour and see if the 4 hour can back that up. So as of right now, we were bullish. Our trend was bullish. We finally flipped I would say we flipped the trend at this point. This was our trend low. Trend low was closed below. Let me see, was it? Yeah, trend low was closed below on the 4 hour. So technically our trend shifted, which gives us a sign that the daily is pulling back. So I go back to my original story. If the trend is shifting and we're going to go bearish, at what point could it flip again? Well, on the higher time frames, lower trend area. So I would still argue that this, I don't know for sure because we are already picking up liquidity, but this is a lot of liquidity resting right here. And since it's already going bearish and already liquidated this, if it's not picking this up and continuing, then the next logical place for it to go is down here. So either it's going to pick some of this liquidity up and continue to violate at least this area, probably all the way up here, honestly, because all of that's compressed, or it's going to liquidate this and come fill this area up first. I do think this is more likely, honestly, just looking at the price action and the fact that we closed below here and that the daily looks like the internals pulling back and all this liquidity is so close to each other that once you trigger those, I could see it just triggering all of that. So I
Yep,
kind of am
yep.
telling myself the story that it's likely to come down here, but it technically
I'm
doesn't
also
have
kind
to.
of wondering. I'm wondering what's the economic what how what's it how is it going in Europe? Does anyone know? Like,
Let's take a look at um, Jay's. Do I have it in
that's a
here?
good idea. That is a very good idea.
Um, where I forgot how to get to it.
Also, while we're setting all this up, guys, for those of you who are interested in sort of the mindset side of things, we're going to be talking about that towards the end of the podcast. I just want to throw a question out there, and it's just a very basic question that you can answer in the chat. How are your New Year's resolutions going? And is my first question, and we'll get to there in probably about 5-10 minutes.
All right, well, we're working on some of those. I would argue that, okay, well, I was about to say, like, looking at this from a price action perspective, that's getting messy and compressed, but I just see that's just how it is because this is just the euro weight against everything.
Mm.
So, this is, let me turn off the mess
Well, it
since we're
wasn't
not,
always like this. Like if you look at it from probably
Yeah,
June of last year. But yeah, just since June, uh, it's just gotten super compressed.
yeah. Looking at it in a line form to kind of give myself like an easier look at things. So here's what was happening. It was a cyclical thing, right? Boom, 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 kind of a cycle. And then all of a sudden, huge uh inflation compared to everyone else, right? Like compared to like other currencies, basically, is the weight of it. So looking at it here, let me go up some time frames. Um, it's got a lot of room kind of to visit
It does.
from a liquidity perspective.
So
So
does the pound, to be honest.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna have to look at the pound to call this. It is definitely picking up this liquidity and getting compressed at this point, but it is really trying to revisit all of this area for some reason. So I would say it'll probably start losing steam around here, but I don't know. Now
Hmm.
let me look at the pound.
I suppose another question that I probably should ask you, being an American, is what are we likely to see many rate cuts this year from America?
That see, that's so tough to answer from a logical perspective. If
Did
I
you
was,
did you see the video I sent you?
yes, I did. That I was literally dying of laughter. Yes, and yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna say. Actually, to be true, I don't want to be political about this because I don't care. I don't care. Like we're here for the trading, but I will say that like decisions affect interest rates and things like that. Normally, I would say no. There wouldn't be a lot of interest rate cuts this year. We're probably going to be waiting till the end of the year to really look at the effects on things and see, or at least third quarter to make that decision with the way the Fed talks. But with how the presidency is going and the administration, yes, I think that we're going to see, and a leading indicator with some of my banks were offering me locked in year interest rates, asset protected interest rates for like
Yep,
3.8% and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay,
yep,
that's a pretty
yep.
big leading indicator for me that we might be seeing,
I remember getting the same thing when we had that a couple of
yep.
years ago for our mortgage.
Yeah, and that stuff like that. If the big industries know they can lock in interest rates for a whole year, come on, they're the big guys. Why would they give you a nice guy deal like that for no reason? There's a reason for that.
Hmm.
Chances are good that
Yep.
th- they're no more sure than anybody else is because anything could change. But they have pretty good information that their interest rates are going to drop. And so I'm thinking because I got some 3.8%, uh, we could see as low as 3.5%. So we'll see, but I say yes. I'd say because of a few of these leading indicators, we're going to see some interest rate drops this year, some dramatic ones for what it's
Yep.
supposed to be. Um,
So
I
if that's the case, you're probably going to see some strength in both the pound and euro anyway.
yes. I was going to say that it looks like the pound is gaining strength at a much slower rate than the euro, just on this
Yeah.
chart. Overall, now it is a smaller currency than the euro, which has affects the way that these are weighted. But that being said,
Especially now they're all by themselves.
yes. That being said, I would say, yeah, yeah. Um, what was it? Euro JPY. No, no, Euro GBP. That's right. That's the whole reason we're analyzing them. Put on candlestick charts. I'd say with all of the above information, I would argue, let me turn this indicator off, that we still have some bullish strength on the euro a little bit. That maybe maybe we'll see a daily liquidity take somewhere, somewhere in this range before picking up and then continuing this bullish trend for a little bit longer. Just looking at the fact that euro seems to be much less affected, but at any point you saw that big spike where it was just completely, complete turnover, basically, completely dropped. It's eventually going to fill that and come down. And look, we have this huge liquidity spike and all this liquidity grab over here. So once it starts visiting this area, I'd be very wary of the strength of euro to the pound. But right now,
Yep.
with all the information I have, I'm going to say that the euro is probably going to outpace the pound for a little bit longer. And they have more there the Eurozone is a bigger economy, so it has more stake also in the current tech that's driving most of the markets right now. So that also affects that. Anyway, is there any other? Let me go back to see if there's any other important questions that I missed.
From what I can see,
They're talking a lot about the
there
leverage.
is not.
Let me see.
Yeah, Bear and Moonflower are talking about leverage. I think Bear's got our backs. He's handling that.
Thanks. Yeah, I
Um,
can understand that there was a
so
disconnect with that from the crypto thing.
yeah,
Are there any other?
no, we got a couple. So Pat is resolutions going as planned. More focused at task at hand. No multitasking. One thing at a time. It made trading easier and more mechanical rather than emotional. Emotional. Wonderful. That's great. I love it. Um, and it sounds like you have taken on the some advice that we gave you last week, which is great. Maxi, I'm sorry to hear that you've had a pretty crap start to the year, but I'm glad that your trading is going well. I hope that's not a correlation that you continue to have, uh, i.e., the worse
Yeah,
your life gets, the better your trading
right.
gets. I mean, you probably wouldn't want that, would you? Would you? Would you? Would you? Would you like that correlation, Jezza? I don't know. If you
I
knew that your life was going to go crap, but your trading would go fantastic, would you? Would you take that
I
correlation?
believe that defeats the entire purpose of trading in the first place. So no, definitely not.
No, no. What is it that Eminem says? Money doesn't buy happiness; it buys crazy ass happiness.
That yeah, that's the truth, I'm sure.
I'm not sure if that's true. Now,
Well,
I haven't literally this year because I haven't put any invoices in this year, and I haven't traded this year.
I
I haven't made any money yet so far this year.
me neither, and I would have made some money, but it's okay. We can move on. I was gonna say, my true blue belief on that money doesn't buy happiness scenario is that, um, I agree with that sentiment that money literally you can't go purchase happiness. Like if you make two, three, four, $500,000, you're not all of a sudden going to be happy if you're struggling being happy at nothing. That's a true fact. So it's a psychological thing. But
Hmm.
that being said, money does buy time, enough of it. You need just enough, which is why there's statistics out there that like you make over what $160,000 a year or something like that, and the happiness peaks or something. It has none. It's not even a money thing. I don't think it's the fact that you only need enough to free yourself up, and then after that is excess, and that's fine. But what really matters is applied time. Applied time is where you find happiness, and
And
money,
choice, I think.
yeah, and money can allow that. Once you apply your time positively and do the things that are good for your brain, that genuinely make
Yeah,
social animals
yeah,
happy, you'll be happy, and money can help with that substantially. So yes, I
yeah.
don't think money buys happiness. I think you have to train to be happy.
There's after like I had not as good a year as you had last year, but I had a pretty good year last year. But it also allowed me to do things that I wanted to do. So, I think I don't know, did I say this on live last year? Or I don't know whether I can't remember our conversations that we've had in front of people or just privately, but I started writing a book
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of last year. I on a whim have I'd started writing down lyrics, and so at Christmas I bought myself a music studio package, so that I can create music. And these are things that, people without money, some people may go, oh, that's just wasting time and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a choice to be creative because I have the comfortableness in the fact that we have money,
Mm-hmm.
and you can actually choose what you want to do with your time as well.
Yep, yep.
Um,
I had literally the best year of my life, and it didn't like no, I didn't get myself anything amazing. I didn't change my lifestyle in any meaningful way, but for the holidays, I got to give my family way more and better gifts. Like it was so awesome. I got to excite everybody, and
hey,
this I got to take all of
I,
December, and that was
do I
awesome.
Can I? I can't quite reach. I can't quite reach your gist from here. It's
Oh
just
yeah,
out of reach.
yeah. That's right. I did. I did get lemons a little something.
The volatile market of the Nixie,
Yeah,
the Nikkei.
if
Sorry,
I'm
not the
ever getting
Nixie.
somebody a chart that's a statue, I will remember that for the rest of my life. I liked
I'm
the
I'm gonna get it. I'm
concept.
gonna get it. I'll be right
Okay,
back.
all right. That's hilarious.
There we go. Check this bad boy out. This is what the what the Nikkei did in
For the last
between.
year.
Oh, just one day. Just. Oh no,
What?
for the whole last year.
Yeah, it's
Look at
last
that.
year. It's the last year. It's
Sorry,
2025.
no, you've got yeah,
Oh,
15th. You've even got the dates like because obviously we don't do the dates like the Americans,
yeah, I
and
did
you're
do it
obviously
the American
American.
way. Yeah,
You
that's
got
right.
no, no, you've done it you've done it the non-American way.
Oh,
It's the
cool. Thank
15th of the
goodness.
12th.
Good. Okay. Yes. Yes. Sick. Okay. I was
So yeah,
worried.
this is what the Nikkei did last year.
Yeah. I asked him what his favorite market
And he
was.
asked me what my favorite he asked me what my favorite color was, and I told him I was colorblind, which is
Yes.
true.
Yes.
But I still do like I like blue. I can see blue, which is the main thing.
Cool. Cool. I did blue and gold, which is like someone will see it. Someone will see it.
Well, Australia is green and gold.
Oh man, that would have
That's
been great.
that's that's the that's the typical colors of Australia. We are
That
green and
makes sense.
gold.
Yeah, that does make sense, and that's actually a good color combo.
Yeah,
But that's okay.
yeah,
That's all right.
yeah. Of course, it's Australian.
Yeah.
Of course, it'd be a good color combo.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Um, getting into mindset real quick because we've only got sort of 12 minutes
Sorry.
left. I suppose my sort of question to you is, what do you think about making new habits, i.e., good habits? Is there a different structure in place when making a habit for positive reasons, as opposed to when a habit that you don't want is already created and to try and get rid of it? Is there different processes for that?
Y
That's a
yes.
loaded question because I already know the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Most definitely. I think so I'll start with the bad habits thing. The easiest way, um, I would say to get rid of bad habits is completely different than forming good habit. It's to hijack the habit. So in like the book Atomic Habits, he talks about Q, um, what is it? Q, craving, uh,
Yep.
ah. Anyway, you when you get the cue and the craving, you
You get
replace.
the cue and the craving. Yep.
Yep, you replace
You got
the
it.
action that you take with something else. So you still are you're going through the psychological habit that you already have, right? You're hijacking it like a virus hijacks a cell and functions it, right? You're hijacking your habit and just replacing the habit that you actually take. So if you go for a smoke, instead you grab a piece of gum or whatever it is, whatever you got to do for you. But you replace it with that habit, but still follow all of the same steps, right? Whereas with creating a habit, it's a process that you have to put into place, right? And you have to
Yep.
think about the number one way. I think this is also an atomic habit, actually. The number one way that I think about uh, making a process part of you is to like um, let's say I want to read, um, a chapter a day in my book. I don't go, I want to read a chapter a day. You tell yourself, I am a reader and I'm going to read a chapter a day of this book.
Perfect.
You have to
Jezza,
change.
we don't talk about this shit too much beforehand, but I just love how we're just like there. And you've said exactly what I wanted you to say, and all I've written. So I've got a script in front of me right here, and I've just put on your part. I've just put wait for Jezza to answer. I haven't put what you're gonna say, but
I've seen
you
the
put
script, so
exactly
yes.
you said exactly what I wanted you to say.
That's awesome.
It's great.
Epic. Perfect.
And it's great because the whole point when it comes to habits, you've got your prefrontal cortex in your brain, and which is like the CEO of your brain, basically making all the decisions. And it's got a lot of data to get through on a day-to-day basis, even on a minute-by-minute basis. Um, so what it does, it has to sort of pass off tasks. And so what it does, it passes off decisions and whatnot to your basal ganglia. which is basically your autopilot. So whether or not you have will or not, your autopilot will just kick in with your habits. So if you already have a habit, say it's for instance smoking, for instance, uh, and you want to try and get rid of that habit, it's unfortunately not something you can just completely erase because when you go into sort of getting rid of habits, it doesn't get rid of it. It just sort of desensitizes it or just makes it go dormant. Which is why sometimes when you have kind of those stressful events in your life, some people will really relapse and go back to your smoking or your drinking or your drugs or whatever it is. And so the best advice when it comes to that habit um, cancellation or whatever you want to call it is exactly what you have mentioned, which is just replacing the stimulus. So if, for instance, you've got a trigger, which is, I don't know, this time of year, maybe a family member visiting for Christmas, or you going to visit a family member at Christmas, is, for some people, a stressful thing that may trigger you to pick up a packet of cigarettes or pick up a bottle of beer or two or five or 12. Um, Instead of having that as uh, your impulse, you just switch it up. You go, this is my cue. Okay, this is what I am gonna plan. So when I know that, for instance, when I go and visit my father, he's gonna bring up stories from my childhood that I'm not particularly proud of and I'm not happy with. And even though I tell him, like, I don't want you telling that story about when I couldn't use the dryer, so I washed my clothes, and instead of putting it in the dryer, I just left them under my bed for a month. Um, he will continue to tell that to everyone. And I will feel the need for a little cheeky sip of tequila or two. And so instead, I know that that's going to happen. And so therefore, I plan ahead. This is what I'm going to do instead. When this happens, I'm going to remove myself from the situation, or I'm going to take a couple of deep breaths. I'm going to laugh it off. I'm going to, get to the story before he does, take the power away from him, etc., etc. And that in itself will be a different route, just putting a different driver in the seat, and yeah, that hopefully the negative habits will not arise. So let's put that into a trading context. Can you think of anything in trading that for you, Jezza, that's a negative habit that you find crop up every now and again?
Yep. My number one persistent negative habit is closing trades before they've matured where they're supposed to be, and that persists in
Okay,
my trading still to this day.
all right. So what is the so again? What's your sort of trigger for that? What
Ooh.
makes you?
Um, the trigger is usually a profit amount. Like I'll be up a certain number R, and it's that greed of okay, I've locked this many trade losses in. I could just close the market, and oftentimes, I'll tell myself something. Oh, here's a point of liquidity or something like that. This is where it could reverse on me. Like this liquidity
Yeah.
could be the
So
reversal.
you'll just start telling yourself stories to
Yep.
make yourself feel a little bit better, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So what do you do now? So that's a trigger for you. What do you do in kind of like the preparation phase for your trading to kind of counteract that? How do you see that in future when that plays out? What do you do instead?
Um, so I've not gotten to the point where I like will ignore the market for big trades, for like longer trades. I can't ignore it completely. So what I'll do is once it gets to a point where I get scared or where I want to exit, I will set a logical point that I'm like, okay, if this happens, it's not my emotions anymore. This is a logical thing, and then I'll set an alert for that. I'm not allowed. I cannot open my MT4 terminal and close that trade out unless that alert gets closed below or whatever, or above if it's the other way.
Okay.
And
And
I
that's
ha
something that you've back
yeah,
tested and things like that.
yes,
Perfect.
yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So that's a great, instead of making up, I'm not saying you're making up stories because I'm sure whatever you're telling yourself is very logical.
yeah. But it's
But
a made
when
up
you do,
story. Yeah,
it is. It's a made up
yeah,
story.
yeah,
It's not necessarily backed by your back testing.
yeah.
It's just
Exactly.
something to make you feel, because your brain wants to make you feel okay with the story.
Yep. So I'm making
What
a
is
good
it?
decision.
Cognitive
Dissonance.
dissonance.
Yeah.
Dissonance.
Yep.
That's the one. Yeah. So no one likes cognitive dissonance when your story of you and your actions are not. If you say, you're, I don't know, you're a religious person or something like that, and you go and do something that's not very religious, then your story of you is not going with your actions, and your brain will go until
Mm-hmm.
you make up a story that kind of goes, okay, well, that's understandable.
Mm-hmm.
um, and then when it comes to gaining habits, that whole did you say 20 seconds, or the do small amounts to lead up to it? That's what you were saying, which is awesome. Just making it,
Yes.
you just got to make it super super easy,
Yeah.
because um you bot it's just how we're wired. We're so much more likely to give into sort of negative emotions and negative thoughts. So we have to try extra hard when giving ourselves when giving positive feedback, and that comes with the habit forming as well. You've just got to go over and beyond to give yourself that positive reinforcement when you're doing something, even if it's just something little. Like, for instance, you said you want to read more. So just a page, bare minimum, every day. Like I said to you, I think I said last year, just do 5 push-ups right now. I think we were on a live last year, and I just said, just don't. When we finished,
Mm-hmm.
I just said, just go and do 5 push-ups, and you did them, and I was like, there you go, you done your five
Yeah.
push-ups.
Yeah.
That's bare minimum, no worries, and you get that kind of uh, what's the dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get that dopamine. Whereas if you don't give yourself that intrinsic reward, that dopamine the hit doesn't happen with positive reinforcement. The other thing you said was reframing, which is by far the most powerful thing, I think. It's been backed just by many many psychological journals. Rather than say, I want to read more, or I want to be a better trader, I am a reader, I am a good trader.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's that cognitive dissonance that you've told your brain, I am a good trader. And if you start to do things that goes against that, your brain will kind of go, no, and it won't like that. So your brain will start to do things that will make sense to what the story that you're telling it.
There are real world
It's
examples of this happening to all of us in childhood for sure. Like, okay, I don't know if any of you guys play pool or billiards, or let's say you play fighting video games or something. I know there are times in your life where you're playing your thing and you beat all your friends or whatever, and you're feeling like hot fuzz, and you just you can't miss. You can't get it wrong. You're just in sync, and that confidence, that buzz that you're going through, seems to just create this feedback loop where everything's going really well. And then there's the opposite, the days
Yep,
where you're like, man, I suck, I'm trash at this, and you miss all your shots or you can't play it right or whatever. Um, because our brain is extremely powerful tool, and how we view our reality is how our brain is going to feel and act based on that function. And yeah.
yep, yep. I remember playing tennis. I used to play a lot of tennis when I was young, and I used to knock up with heaps of people. Um, and it's funny, I for some reason I got into my head that it doesn't matter how good the person was, if they did a two-handed backhand, they were trash, and I would easily beat them. And because I was the Australian Roger Federer at the time, and I was all
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
single-handed backhand, and like I had a really lovely top spin. And so every time I went up against someone with a double-handed backhand, um, yeah, I would smash him just because I had in my mind he's a double-handed backhand. Who's he, Nadal or something? Um, and it would just happen so often. And then when I'd go up against a single-handed backhand, it would be a lot more like I wouldn't win quite nearly as much. But I remember there's these brothers I used to play against, and one of them was a double-handed backhand, and one of them was a single-handed backhand. And when they played each other, every time the double-handed backhand dude would play the single-handed backhand, he'd always smash him. Absolutely, like 6-love, 6-love. But when I'd play the double-handed backhand guy, he'd in no worries. And when I played the single-handed backhand guy, it would be more close calls. Sometimes, well, quite often actually, I would lose to this guy, who would always lose to his brother, who was the double-handed backhand. And it's just the stories that we tell ourselves. I never really knew it until I started reading this stuff like 10, 15 years later. I was like, oh yeah, well that's probably the reason that this happened and blah 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 blah. I Something that I always say that I'm a very lucky person. Um, I always seem to find a way out of a situation, or I always seem to find luck when no other people don't seem to have luck, and I have that in my mind. Again, I just put it out into the universe, and so therefore things happen, and I can't explain it, but I am a very lucky person. When my business closed up, I happened to find this place. I happened to meet yourself, Jezza. I happened to meet Bear. I happened to meet Jay. And for one reason or another, they were very forthcoming with knowledge to me, even though I was just some random Australian who 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 was like, "Oh, kangaroos! That sounds awesome. I'll do that." um, but yeah, like it is like you literally, and it's hard to explain it because you have to really 100% believe it. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, I'm lucky," but you have to really you know say it, think it, believe it, follow it.
Yeah.
And yeah, this sort of stuff does. Uh, Maxi, thank you very much. And Maxi, of course, I didn't meet him straight away, but it is a couple of years later. But he and I are brothers from another mother. Um, anyway, I've gone off track. Is there anything that you would, because we're kind of, I feel like this is a something that we could definitely talk about for another hour or so. But like, is there anything you want to add on to this kind of stuff?
No, I think it was all said beautifully. One tiny thing to add, for creating habits, there's a thing called habit stacking where, it's a lot
Oh,
easier.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It's a lot
Yeah,
easier to learn how to fish on a fishing boat with people that are already fishing, right? Than just going out on your own. Well, your body
absolutely.
has a lot of effort and your mind has a lot of effort making a new habit. So if you, okay, an example, let's say, um, you already go out on your balcony every day for 20 minutes and just take in the air or whatever, and you're sitting out there, that's already a habit. And we bring up earlier that you want to read more. You can, while you're already doing the one habit and getting out, getting your fresh air, open up a book and read during that time. So now you've stacked that habit on top of another habit. It's not that much resistance to
Hmm.
make it a new habit, right? That's not, I mean, that was just the example that came to mind about reading, but it works that way for anything. If you're, you can even, don't, I, I don't know why this is the thing that comes to mind for smoking because a lot of people want to quit smoking, but let's just say you don't want to quit and you do want to read and you step outside to smoke, you can use that opportunity to read too or whatever. So it's whatever. If you already have a habit, I
Yeah.
don't want to use a bad habit as an example. You shouldn't be smoking,
I
but
have ones. I have a super easy one that I have done with my computer
oh, yeah.
in the sense that obviously every morning I turn my computer on and I have changed my settings so that apps that automatically pop up, how like sometimes, certain apps just pop up for some reason.
Mm,
So I found the settings in order to make certain apps pop up. and trading view pops up. My Fivers uh, pops up, and my personal account pops up. My my Discord pops up as well every morning. Every time I turn my computer on, without fail, because that's exactly what I've set it to
Mm,
load up with turning on the computer.
mm.
So I know it's super simple to click on the apps, the four, the three, the two apps, um, anyway. But even on the days when I'm kind of like, you know what, I don't, I'm not quite there, it just come up, and that's habit stacking. Turning on the computer, the apps pop up automatically. It's super
That's
simple,
so funny. I
but
do
I
this.
find it super effective.
I do the same exact thing for the opposite reason. So I also have all my apps pop up, and the reason why is so that I don't get distracted while trying to open an app and open up Internet Explorer or whatever and start surfing the web or Wikipedia or something like that. Because I will just jump into something else. But same thing, yeah.
So yeah, so your mind will wander to something else, and
Yeah,
I like to me that can happen sometimes also. Like I will, I've got let's see, so my trading view is right next to my yeah, actually, no, it's not. It's next to File Explorer, but next to File Explorer is my Internet Explorer as well.
yeah,
So I can, it's not too far away. I could
yeah, yeah,
accidentally click on Internet Explorer,
yeah,
and then do you know what comes up? My emails straight away,
yeah,
and I might go, oh shit, I better deal with this email
yeah.
before looking at the charts and whatnot, and not doing my preparation for my morning chart work. So yeah, it's just it's just as many things that you can do just to take the load off your brain, because your brain, I can't remember how much. In fact, I'm going to ask Gemini. Um, Hey Gemini, how much information does your brain process in 1 second?
Tricky one to answer directly. As an AI, the way I process information is quite different from a human brain.
I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I meant me. I meant me. I meant me, Gemini.
Hey, if either way, by the way, did you notice how bloody Australian my AI sounded?
Right?
That's only just switched in the last couple of months.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah.
Um, it used to be American, and it suddenly switched to an Australian for no reason. I didn't ask it to switch to
Oh
a
wow.
Australian,
Interesting.
but all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, Gemini, are you Australian now?" And she's like, yeah, I've always been Australian." I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I've always been blonde. What are you talking about? No, what are you talking about? Last night
Let
you
me
were a brunette.
rephrase that. How much information does the human brain process in a second?
It's a complex question with varying estimates. Some research suggests the speed of conscious thought might be around 10 bits per second, which is quite low compared to the immense amount of sensory data the brain takes in every moment. However, the overall processing power is incredibly complex and difficult to quantify neatly. Is something specific you were wondering?
Okay. Well, Gemini is not playing game with me today,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
but apparently, yeah, the conscious mind only takes in about 10 bits per
That's
second.
crazy to think
That's
about.
crazy.
What?
That is crazy.
Yeah. I would be
This
so
is, by the way,
mad.
Gemini can be wrong,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
you know,
If
like
that is anywhere close
imagine
to true
all
though,
all of that shit in your head that's going through your head, and you're only processing 10 bits a second.
that's
That's
crazy.
nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
Did actually anything happen during? Because we did. I haven't looked
No,
since we
well,
started talking about
we
stuff.
have come and visited this demand area where we had kind of a liquidation of our liquidation right here. A little bit of a flip. It's coming up and visiting that. We'll see where it goes. I wouldn't mind seeing like more. I don't know, more important liquidity than this taken out. So
Yeah.
I'd say nah, nothing really is happening. It's kind of in a stall area.
Nothing's happened.
Yeah.
UJ is the same thing. UJ's actually taken the high, which is not really something I was interested in at the time. I
Yeah.
was really hoping for some
Oh,
liquidity to be taken before it went higher. So yeah,
yeah.
I'm not really that interested. UJ. Oh, I'm looking at UJ on the monthly still. Let's have a go down to the 15-minute.
I'd say from the 15-minute, I'd say maybe you might get a wick fill. There's a chance
Oh,
of that wick
UJ.
fill
UJ.
and
Oh
and a
yeah.
continuation. I would not mind seeing a bullish continuation
I
of this
wouldn't be
zone.
mad at that.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So UJ is coming up on an interesting zone for those that watch it. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'd say keep an eye on its reaction to this.
What time was that wick? What time
Uh,
was that? 8:30. Okay, so that's 8:30 is the
New
that's
New
pre
York.
the 1 hour before before New York, isn't it?
I no, it's right at New York Open. I'm pretty sure.
Right at New York Open. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's a pretty big. Like if you're looking at it on the 15
Yeah.
minute, that's a pretty nasty wick right there.
Yep. And a very
So
important time to create that wick too.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So UJ is
Yeah,
kind
I
of a
might take
maybe.
I might set an alert. I don't know about you, but I might set an alert halfway down that wick.
Yeah, I'm pretty curious. I'm gonna set mine right below this liquidity right here. But yeah, that's about. I think we're pretty
Sorry,
much
I
looking.
missed that. Where are you setting yours?
Right below that first liquidity point on the 5 minute right here. So about
I'm a little bit lower than that, but
yeah,
I would expect both to get hit at some point today.
yeah. Where-
That was CPI, was it, Bear?
Oh yeah, that makes sense. That what I think it was. Oh no,
Yeah.
was it? Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. And
Well, you know that the big money's going to want to come back and take that.
oh yeah. If that's CPI,
Sorry,
honestly,
I shouldn't say It's
well,
highly probable
I was gonna say if that was a CPI
based
push
on
and we have
data.
all that liquidity building up, I would not be surprised to see this get liquidated actually
Yeah,
and
yeah,
fill that.
yeah. No, I'm being very cautious with the fact that it will at least go halfway
Yeah,
that
yeah,
week. I would say
yeah,
I wouldn't mind taking that and then changing structure and then continuing to the top side.
yeah.
That would be what I would like to see.
A really nice setup would be something like this for me. Yeah, boom. Maybe even a stall here to build up a lot of liquidity, a sweep of that into this area, and then, well, bam, it'll probably come up and
Yeah,
fill that zone, and then
yeah.
goodbye high. That's what I'm hoping for.
Because generally what it does. It will do what it's doing currently. It's kind of heading towards that. Then it will start slowing down. It will kind of consolidate a little bit, and it will kind of make people kind of go, oh, maybe it's turning around a bit
Yep,
early, and then it will suddenly rush for that liquidity spot.
yep.
So many times I've seen that happen. Just like rush for that liquidity spot, and then that just panics people. Oh my god, it's gonna go going south. Let's get in, and then
Especially
it will just turn around.
I'd say especially Forex. It is so rare, guys, that the first
4x.
time it picks
Yeah.
up a point of liquidity, it's gonna just turn around on you, and that's it. You missed the move. You don't have to get that scared. Chances are you're being tricked to feel that way. If like it comes down to a
Mm-hmm.
demand zone or something and it starts going the
Yep.
other way, you are being manipulated most of the time. Don't get scared by
Yeah.
that. Let
It's
liquidity
playing on your
form.
emotions.
Yeah, and boy are they good
No.
at that. Where they have hundreds of years of it.
Oh, for sure.
All right. Well, is
For
there
sure.
any
They
other
use
questions?
computers to kill your emotions now these days.
Yeah, they did a good job.
No.
All
No.
right. Well,
No, it's 1:15, so I reckon we're done.
all right, guys. Well, thank
Thank
y'all
you
for
guys.
coming.
Oh, there's 21 people here. Has that been the way the whole time?
I wasn't that focused on the analytics this time, but yeah,
No,
nice.
nor was I. But maybe that's the thing. Maybe we just don't need to be focused on analytics, and then the analytics will come to us.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys.
Because you know what, we're not trying to be YouTubers. We are YouTubers.
Right. Yeah. We're just born this way.
Yeah. We'll finish off with some Lady Gaga, and then we're gonna dart.
All right, y'all. You guys have a good one.